Hey there, you are watching Hollywood Healthcare. Welcome back to another exciting episode about celebrities' health journeys. Perhaps ironically, sex addiction is something that happens behind closed doors in Western society. We find it far easier to speak freely about alcoholism or drug addiction than we do sex addiction, and so create a cultural impression that sex addiction is less common. This is not the truth. Sex addiction is no less common, but far less recognized than the more popularly acknowledged forms of addiction. You pass by sex addicts every day without even recognizing it, as many are too afraid to speak honestly about the problems that define their life. The following list is 8 sex addicts who live in the public eye that have spoken publicly about their sex addiction. A mere fraction of celebrities who suffer privately, their accounts and experience serve to remove much of the stigma around sex addiction, and will hopefully make seeking help easier for those who struggle. 1. Russell Brand. Famous reformed addict Russell Brand has battled an addiction to nearly every substance under the sun, but most are not aware of his sex addiction. Describing his old self as a Wonka ticket to a sex factory, Russell checked himself into rehab to treat his addiction to self-titled carnal overindulgences. Brand has revealed that prior to his 30-day stay in rehab, he had a harem of approximately 10 women in addition to frequent one-night stands and casual encounters. When describing his motivation for checking into rehab, he is quoted as saying that, "As my sexual appetite grew, I found myself engaged in an increasingly desperate quest to satisfy it. I became so open to suggestion that when someone asked me if I'd like to go to an orgy, I didn't think twice before accepting the invitation." 2. David Duchovny. You might not want to believe it, but this former X-Files and Californication star is a well-known sex addict. After being discovered cheating on his wife T. Leone, it was revealed that David had been doing so for years. Issued an ultimatum by his wife, he was told to decide between treatment and divorce. Father to 2 children, T felt that his behavior was not conducive to a healthy family and home, and so in 2008, David checked into the Meadows facility in Arizona for 35 days. David has been understandably quiet concerning the details of his problem. An already notoriously private celebrity, little is known about the nature of his addiction or his experience with recovery. 3. Tiger Woods. The figure at the center of one of the biggest sex scandals in all sports history, Tiger Woods has endured an unfortunately public experience with sex addiction. Starting with a story in the National Enquirer and ending with divorce, public embarrassment, and an extended leave of absence from the game he dominated, Tiger's scandal has defined much of his legacy. When the story about his affair broke in 2009, mistresses from around the world came out of the woodwork to share their experiences. While their stories all differed in detail, one thing they all reported was that Tiger had significant issues with sleep and would turn to sex as an alternative. Unfortunately, exposing details about Tiger's sexual problems proved to be quite lucrative, and over a period of weeks, more than a dozen different women described in vivid detail their experiences with him. Text histories were leaked to the press, and the world was exposed to Tiger's personal problems in intimate detail. 4. Rob Lowe. Now in his 26th year of sobriety, West Wing and Parks and Rec star Rob Lowe is certainly a sex addiction success story. Rob was fortunate enough to catch his addiction at the young age of 22 when a sex tape was leaked of him with 2 women, one rumored to be 16, in 1989. Checking into rehab after experiencing the public fallout, he claims that his sex tape was one of the best, though arduous, things to have ever happened to him. To those struggling with addiction, there is true, real hope. 25 years ago today, I found recovery and a life of promise. Grateful 5, Pamela Anderson. In 2014, Pamela Anderson revealed traumatic personal experiences with rape and molestation throughout her childhood. Molested by a female babysitter from age 6 to 10, again at age 12 by the older brother of a then-boyfriend, and gang-raped by 6 boys in the 9th grade. There is no denying that Pamela was prevented from forming any kind of healthy expectations regarding sexual behavior and human intimacy. Addicted to sex, cocaine, and alcohol for decades, Pamela has now been sober for several years, famously cutting out of her life many high-profile friends who reportedly did not respect her sobriety, including famous photographer David LaChapelle. Pamela demonstrates one of the most difficult but important aspects of recovery: managing one's support network. 6. Lindsay Lohan. Breaking her addiction to alcohol and cocaine, Lindsay Lohan reportedly struggled to manage her sex addiction, demonstrating how powerful a sex addiction can be. After checking out of a rehab center for drugs and alcohol, her then-boyfriend reported that she replaced the high she got from drugs and alcohol with sex. Having battled various addictions in the public eye for nearly a decade, Lindsay has since worked very hard to stay out of the spotlight. At the age of 29, all reports indicate that she is completely sober after having rebuilt her life. Surrounding herself with a strong support network, including a new boyfriend and friends in a new city, she's enjoying her life completely clean. 7. Colin Farrell. Having grown up in Dublin, Ireland, Colin Farrell was no stranger to alcoholism and substance abuse throughout his formative years, establishing unhealthy ideas and behaviors concerning drug, alcohol, and intimacy from a very young age. He certainly could have been better equipped psychologically for his meteoric rise to Hollywood fame. While even Farrell himself claims that his sex and substance abuse problems helped fuel his rise to prominence, he doesn't deny that they were responsible for a now-addressed crumbling mental state. After the box office bomb that was 2004's Alexander, Farrell booked himself into rehab and has been sober for almost a decade.